Alrighty, guys, the final part. I have 26 minutes left on my phone. I have 26 minutes left on my phone. Yeah, man, that's why my company will blow out of the water, man. It's gonna be amazing. That's why everyone in my life treat me like shit, obviously. Everyone in my life treat me like shit because none of these guys who I knew are gonna be living the kind of life I'm living. There's some people who I know who are successful, obviously, who make like 80, 90, 100K a year, who I went to school with in Darcy and all stuff, but like none of them are gonna be me. They're not gonna be billionaires like billionaire like me, so I'm saying, because they don't have the keys like me. They're not special like me. They're not the son of God like me. That's why everyone treats me like shit in my life because they all envy me, obviously. You know, Ivan has the keys. He can make it easy. He's gonna be a billionaire, man. Whereas we're all gonna make like 50, 60, 70, 80, 100K a year. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we all got better marks than Ivan. You know what I'm saying? And we're smarter than him. But Ivan's more creative than us, and he's a creative genius, obviously. He wrote his own fantasy novel. He's going to make his billions. So we're all going to make 50, 60K a year, yeah. I remember there were some guys who bragged about like how much money they made, obviously. Yeah, Ivan, what do you do? Yeah, I work at Coors. Yeah. I own my own business, and I make like 50K a year. I make like... I remember that one guy who was my so-called good friend, obviously, at Darcy, who bragged about that McEwen's owner, obviously. He told me by the time he was 23, he'd be making 80K a year. And chances are, when I met him, he's what? He bought his own nice house. The guy's probably making 80 plus, 90 plus thousand a year, man. He's making a lot of money. And I remember I was a bit envious. I'm like, holy shit, man, you're lucky. You bought your own house. You know what I'm saying? He's married. He has a kid now. You know what I'm saying? Because all the guys who I went to the Darcy with are all like 30, 31 years old, 29 years old. They're all like older. The people who are my age are all 30 now. By 30 years old, most people have kids. They're married. They have their own place. They have good paying jobs. Yeah, whereas me, I'm a bum because the doors are locked on me, obviously. The gatekeepers locked all the doors on me. The gatekeepers locked all the doors on me. The gatekeepers locked all the doors on me, Samsara. The gatekeepers locked all the doors on me. The gatekeepers locked all the doors on me, yeah, man. And after this video, I'll upload it and I will take my shower. And then I'll work on my book for a good like 20 minutes. And I'll go to the store, get my beer and smokes. And I'll enjoy the video, you guys. You guys better enjoy this stupid listening series, guys. Because once I'm thinking I'm peace now, Ouija, man, you're not going to be saved. As you did this evil to me, Ouija, I'm also going to make you pay too. You're going to pay a price, man. Okay, thank you. Bye. Yes, you get what you fucking deserve. I'm taking my money and I'm peacing out, man. And when I'm king, living life, you're not a part of my goal. You're left behind. You get what you deserve, man. You made me pay. Leave my wife. I have to deal with that fucked up mess. You're also gonna pay too, man. You're gonna be left behind, man. Yeah. Like you guys make fun of me about the mess. Yeah, Ivan has no idea what happens when we have to cover it. Obviously, you know what I'm saying. You see people, they always like hate on me. They have all these peace out signs. You know what I'm saying? They hate on me. No, I love you too because the VJ has lovers obviously. Yeah, you want to be a dick like that, hate on me when you set this whole mess up. When I'm king, I'm also gonna make fun of you. Yeah, the world's left behind. Me and you live forever, so we're billionaires and left out right. Go, yeah, you already deserve. You're left behind. You're bad. My lord, you already deserve, man. You already deserve. You get what you deserve. You get what you deserve. You get what you deserve, Sincere. You get what you deserve. You get what you deserve. Sincere, you get what you deserve. Yeah, man, that's how top notch my Sky Source company will be, man. You're looking at what? You're looking at the best film brand at the managing. Yeah, man. That's why Keanu Reeves and Scarlett Johansson are gonna beg. They're gonna beg their asses off for me if you just resign them. It's been crazy. They're gonna beg their ass off me if you just resign them. This has been crazy. They're gonna beg me if you just resign them. Yeah, man. Something crazy. Yeah, man. That's been crazy. And the Grayscape will have crazy worldwide buzz. Not the kind of buzz that Zanes will have, but it'll have crazy worldwide buzz too, man. Looking at crazy worldwide buzz for the Grayscape, man. Something crazy, man. Crazy. Worldwide buzz. Zanes will have. This has been crazy. Crazy worldwide buzz Zanes will have. This has been crazy, man. Yeah. The actors get sponsored with clothing for the ad shoots. They get featured on my commercials. I'll pay Keanu Reeves and all them $10,000 per commercial. Have them do 2 commercials for the Grayscape. That's enough. Do 2 commercials the second year, and in the third year, when they're filming, they'll be featured on the ad. They'll be featured on the weekly character ad sheets that are featured weekly on my website. So I'm saying, yeah, I was just saying, yeah. So I'm saying, yeah, I was just saying, yeah, I see what you're saying, so I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. And if I do the Grayscape, I'll sign Keanu Reeves and all of them to a game deal, obviously. So you'll be so Keanu Reeves and all of them will be in the game. But for the Grayscape, you will not play as Keanu Reeves and all them. So instead of signing, so Keanu Reeves and all them, I'll not sign them to multi-million-dollar deals for the game, because they're what? You will not be playing as them in the game. You could, because they're big actors, you could sign them to a multi-million-dollar deal, but I mean, they're kind of ripping you off if you don't play as them. You know what I'm saying? Whereas for Zanes, you're going to be playing as all my stars, except for the woman, obviously. So Keanu Reeves, Ben Affleck, Scarlett Johansson, and all them. Like for the Grayscape, my idea for the Grayscape game is you play as me and VJ. Obviously. But you can also play as Brie Larson and John Krasinski them too if you want. No. For the Grayscape, what my idea for the Grayscape is the game starts off with the prologue. You play as a couple on the run, and they end up getting killed. They're supposed to get killed, obviously. And you get the life of me and VJ. We're looking for jobs and all that stuff, and we sign with the company. And you have all these missions and all that stuff, and you were on the run like a way out. So for the Grayscape, my idea is you play as me and VJ. You play as me and VJ. You can either play as me, or you can play as VJ, or you can play as both of us if you want. You can have double screens if you want. You can do something like that if you want, like a way out. You can play multiplayer if you want, something like that. And then Keanu Reeves on them will be in the game. They'll be in the cutscenes. You know how Keanu Reeves was in Cyberpunk? He had a lot of scenes in Cyberpunk. He had cutscenes. He did voice acting work. Yeah, you have Keanu Reeves on them do voice acting work, but you don't play as them in the game. So Keanu Reeves on them, I can sign into like a what? Like, I don't know, maybe a $500,000 deal for the game. That way they don't rip you off. Because if you pay Keanu Reeves $3 million for voice acting work and you don't play as him, he's kind of ripping you off. As Keanu Reeves probably only made a couple $100,000 for Cyberpunk to be featured on a Cyberpunk game that came out like what, a couple years ago, in 2020, right? Was it 2020 or 2021? Cyberpunk came out 2020. Almost 2 years ago it came out. Yeah. You sign Keanu Reeves to 500, sign Ben Affleck and Scarlett to maybe 350K or something like that, 380K for the game. That way they don't rip you off, guys. Because I sign you to a massive contract for the movie, I'm not going to sign you to like a $3 million deal for the game. You rip me off. If the fans are not playing as you in the game, I'm not going to sign you to a $3 million deal. You rip me off. If the fans play as you, then you're worth your millions. If they don't play as you and you're just in the cutscenes and you're voice acting and you have the character face models, you're not worth $3 million. You rip me off. Pay Keanu Reeves a good $500,000. That's a good paycheck for him. The voice, yeah, that's a good deal. I'm more than happy to voice act for your movie and do the character face model for your game for $500,000. That's good. That's a good paycheck for Keanu Reeves. You already paid me my 180. Yeah, I pay you your 180. I'm gonna sign you to $500,000 deal for the game. And then Ben Affleck and Scarlett, I can sign him to like a $380,000 deal. And then what? And then Brie Larson and John Krasinski, you can sign them to like a $250,000, $220,000 deal for the game, because you're not going to play as them. Paul Bettany, you can sign him to like a $220,000 deal for the game, $230,000 deal for the game. Whereas for the Matrix game, you'll be playing as Brie Larson and John Krasinski. So for that movie, I can sign them to their millions, because you're going to be playing as John Krasinski and Brie Larson in the Matrix game. Whereas for the Great Escape game, my idea is you play as me and VJ. You don't play as Keanu Reeves. They're in the game. You're going to see the cutscenes. All these cutscenes, they voice act. You know what I'm saying? They're in the game like Keanu Reeves was in Cyberpunk, but they're not. You're not playing as them. And that's why you don't pay them as much. That way they don't rip you off. Because you don't want Keanu Reeves, Scarlett Johansson, ripping you off. You pay Keanu Reeves $3 million, you don't play as him. He's ripping you off. Sincero? Keanu Reeves is ripping you off, Sincero. Keanu Reeves is ripping you off. Obviously. Will the Great Escape be good? Yeah, the Great Escape will be an amazing game too, but it will not be as good as the Matrix game. And do you think it will top the Xehanort game? The Great Escape game has potential to top the Xehanort game, because in my opinion, fantasy sword games tend to not be the best games. I prefer like those James Bond kind of style games over the fantasy kind of style games. I'm saying the Xehanort game will be an amazing game, but it might not be as good as the Great Escape game. The Great Escape game might be better, but the movie of Xehanort will be better than the Great Escape. The Great Escape game might top the Xehanort game, whereas the Matrix game will guarantee top the Xehanort game, and it will top the Great Escape game. If you have Unreal Engine 5 and you have that, you tell that kind of story, that me as the one, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at an amazing story. You're looking at an amazing story, yeah, man. So that's my deal for Keanu Reeves and all them for the Great Escape game. That way they don't rip you off. Because Keanu Reeves and them are the evil villains, you don't play as them in the game. Unless I'm like, guys, just focus. To make it easier for you guys, the players can play as me. You play as a couple in the beginning, and you play as me and VJ. Obviously, but you don't play as Brie Larson on them. They're in the game. They'll be voice acting. You're gonna see them in the game, obviously, but you're not playing as them. That's why I don't pay them as much. That way they don't rip you off. Pay Brie Larson a good like $220,000. Paul Bettany $220,000. That's a good enough paycheck for the game. All right, that's a good deal. That's a nice paycheck. That's a nice paycheck for doing voice acting. I don't know, you do 3 weeks, 4 weeks of voice acting work, and you get your nice check and you go home. Ivan, what about $2 million? I'm like, guys, I already paid you a fat contract for the movie. Because if the players are not playing as you in the game, I'm not gonna pay your millions, man. The only way I'll pay your millions is if the players play as you in the game. Then you're worth your millions. If they don't play as you on your computer, you're what? You're a CPU, obviously, and you have voice acting work in a game. I'm not gonna pay you like $3 million, $2 million. You rip me off. A 250, 300, 380, whatever, 500K paycheck is good enough. It's a deal, Ivan. That's a good deal, Ivan. Yeah, it's a good deal. It's a good deal for the game. With Keanu Reeves and all that. Obviously, you look at an amazing game for that Great Escape game, man. So if I do the Great Escape, I will turn it into a game too. I'll turn the Great Escape into a game too. Obviously. Will the Great Escape game be as good as the Matrix game? No. The Great Escape game will not be as good as the Matrix game. The Matrix game will what? Will blow it out of the water, man. It won't blow it out of the water, but it'll be better, man. The Matrix game... Go watch Unreal Engine 5 Matrix Awakens. Remember you got that experience? Yeah, think of something like that for my game. You have the story of the one in the Matrix. He's in class. He's in high school. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. In the game, he gets into a fight in high school. You know what I'm saying? You have to avoid the cops. You have to avoid the agents. You know what I'm saying? You can do a thing where when you're in your house, you have to avoid getting caught by your parents with your hacking stuff. Yeah. You make the game. You look at an amazing game. Yeah. You have life of him as a kid, as a teenager in high school, and he works at a restaurant. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? You have emissions with Michael B. Jordan, Brie Larson, Johnson. Look at an amazing game. VJ delivering the package. Look at an amazing game. It will be the Matrix game will be so good. I told you it will even top the Xehanort game, guaranteed. The Matrix game will be so good. I believe it will top the Xehanort game. It will not top the Xehanort movie. It'll be very close, but the game will top the Xehanort game, guaranteed. And it will top the Great Escape game too. As a Matrix game, you're looking at a fucking masterpiece, man. Look at an amazing game. And Rabba will be covering that game, obviously. So if I start the game division, I'll sign Rabba to a $640,000 deal for the Zanus game, and I'll sign him to a $680,000 deal for the Great Escape game or the Matrix 4 game, whatever franchise I do, right? Whatever movie I do, I'll sign him to a $680,000 deal. And then if I do their unique, I'll make a their unique game. The their unique game will be something similar to Life is Strange True Colors. Something similar to Life is Strange True Colors. See what I'm saying? You make all these choices, and it affects your friendships and all that stuff. So I'll add a lot of things in the game to make it more interesting, obviously. But you're looking at some of that for their unique, obviously. And then for their unique, you play as what? You play as me and you play as VJ too. So you have two stories: VJ's story and my story. You play as both of us. And you make all these choices. Think of something like Life is Strange True Colors. You have this beautiful music, and you make all these choices. Obviously, except Life is Strange True Colors is a horror game. You have horror in it, whereas Their Unique is a romance story. Obviously, look at an amazing game for Their Unique. Their Unique will be the worst game out of all my games, obviously, because it's a choice game. But you're looking at a good game for that too. And in Cage of App and all of them, I'll sign them to a deal for that game too. But you will not play as them in the game. You only play as me and VJ. Had you signed KJ Alpha to like a $200,000, $180,000 deal for the game, that's good enough for him. You can sign Zendaya to a $200,000 deal for the game. That's good enough. It's a good deal for them. Give me a sec, guys. I gotta take a leak. It's good for you don't away. Don't hate me, I'm saying. Alrighty, sorry for the wait, guys. I only have a good, I don't know, 6.5 minutes left on my phone around there. 6 hours, 6 minutes and like 50 seconds, whatever it is. Yeah, so that's my deal for Keanu Reeves and all of them if I do the Great Escape. If I do the Matrix, you will play as me, VJ, you'll play as all these characters. The Matrix game will be more interesting because you're playing as all these different characters. Because for a story like the Matrix, you can play as many different characters. You have all these different missions. Whereas for the Great Escape, it's focused on me and VJ, as you play as me and VJ. And then Keanu Reeves and all of them are in the game, obviously. They're the CPU and they have the voice acting game, but you're not playing as them. That's why whenever you don't play as the actor and the actors in the game, you don't pay them as much money. Otherwise, they're ripping you off. Pay them a couple $100,000, but don't let them rip you off and pay them millions. Otherwise, they're ripping you off. That's why the woman actors for Zayn, I'm not going to pay them that much money. The actor for like young Tactius, young Tacitonius, and like Lithius, Elizabeth, and all them, you pay those guys a couple $100,000. VJ will be working for free, obviously, because my royalties is her royalties, right? VJ will make her billions with me, obviously, off the game. And then Danielle Minette, Ariana Grande, you sign them to like a $250,000 deal. Because you're not playing it. They'll be in the game, voice acting, you'll see them in the cutscenes, obviously. But you're not playing as them, hence why I'm not going to pay them as much money. Pay them like $250K. Whereas like Don Cheadle or Vigo, you know what I'm saying, and like Carl Urban, myself, John Boyega, and like Digimon 2, you'll be playing as those characters. Those actors pay them the millions. Because you're playing as them in the game. But if they're only voice acting and they're cutscenes or they're the CPU, they're in the game but they're a CPU, obviously, you don't pay them as much money. Otherwise, they're ripping you off. You don't want these guys ripping you off, man. You know what I'm saying? You're just saying, yeah, you don't want these actors ripping you off. Obviously. Because Keanu Reeves and them agree, they might try and push for a multi-million-dollar deal on my guys. Guys, you're ripping me off. I'm not going to pay you $2, $3 million, $4 million for the game when I'm not playing, when the player's not playing as you in the game. Yes, you're voice acting, and they're in the cutscenes, you're a CPU, you're worth a couple $100,000. I'm not going to pay you $3 million to rip me off. I already paid you a fat deal. I gave you a fat deal for the movie, obviously. I'm not going to have you rip me off and pay you like $3 million for the game. You rip me off. A 250, 300, 400, 500K paycheck is a good. But because Keanu Reeves is very big, pay him a nice 500K. That way you keep him happy. Whereas Scarlett Johansson are not as big as him. Pay them like 370, 380,000. That's a good paycheck, man. That's a good deal. Yeah, all you have to do is do a good month's worth of voice acting. You're done. You get your check. They put the CGI technology on you for the character face models for the game. You do a good 1 month of voice acting, you get a couple $100,000 in your bank. That's a nice deal. Because Ben and Scarlett Johansson agree, they might try and ask for their millions. I'm like, guys, I'm not going to pay your millions. You'll rip me off. The game is focused on me and VJ. It's not focused on you. You're in the game. You're voice acting. People will see you in the cutscenes, but they're not playing as you. Hence why what? Don't let Ben Affleck and all them rip you off, man. You know what I'm saying? Don't let Ben Affleck and Scarlett Johansson and Keanu Reeves rip you off like that. I thought it'd be cool to talk about The Great Escape, considering I talk about Zanus all the time, right? I thought it'd be cool to talk about The Great Escape game, The Great Escape for once. And then tomorrow I'll go back to talking about Zanus, or I might go back to talking about The Matrix. I might alternate back and forth between The Matrix and Zanus. I love when we talk about The Matrix, yeah. But at the same time, I love talking about The Great Escape because high chance it's tough. Because even though I want to do The Great Escape so bad, I want to do that Matrix trilogy so bad. Even though I want to do the Matrix trilogy so bad, I want to do The Great Escape so bad too. Because they're both really good movies. The Great Escape is a fucking masterpiece. A great story. Good story, obviously. Highly entertaining, high epic story, man. But The Matrix is like a masterpiece of a story. Yeah, it's an amazing story. The life of the one as a kid, he's born. The seventh one is born. Agent Smith comes back into the Matrix. You know what I'm saying? With 2-3 of his agents, like Terminator, and you know what I'm saying? Look at an amazing movie, yeah, man. Will The Matrix be better than Great Escape? Yes, The Matrix movie will be better than Great Escape. In terms of quality of story, it'll be better than Great Escape. But The Great Escape, you can argue, will be more entertaining, right? But The Matrix movie will be very entertaining too, though. You're going to see me, the life of the one, but it will not be as entertaining as The Great Escape. The Great Escape will be a highly entertaining movie. But I told you, just because the movie is more entertaining doesn't necessarily make it better. It's more entertaining, but the story is not as good. Hence, the end of the day, it comes down to your story. Story trumps entertainment. I'm saying, story trumps entertainment. As I told you, I'm going to be honest here. The Star Wars sequels, in my opinion, and the prequels are more entertaining to watch than the originals. The originals are not as entertaining to watch as the Star Wars sequels and the Star Wars prequels. But the story of the originals trumps the two other trilogies. Hence why the originals, in my opinion, is the best of the three. In terms of quality, it's the best. In terms of quantity, it's not the best. It's not as entertaining as the sequels. It's not as entertaining as the prequels. I find the prequels more entertaining than the originals, but the originals are better than the prequels in terms of story and quality, obviously. Except for Revenge of the Sith, in my opinion, is I think Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars movie, to be honest. I think Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars movie, to be honest. As I told you, Revenge of the Sith was my second best movie experience ever in my life, man. I remember when I saw it in theaters, I'm like, holy shit, this is sick. Yeah, man, it was a masterpiece, man. I like Revenge of the Sith. I'm gonna say this, man. I like Revenge of the Sith more than Empire and Star Wars and New Hope, man. I really do. I like it more than Solo. I like it more than Rogue One. I like it more than the sequels. I don't like the sequels that much. I like it more than all those movies, man. It was a fucking masterpiece. Was Attack of the Clones and the Phantom Menace not so much, right? Yeah, the Revenge of the Sith was a fucking masterpiece, man. That was an amazing movie. By far, in my opinion, the best movie in the Star Wars trilogies, obviously. Yeah, to complete this video here, yeah, you know what I'm saying? The Matrix movie will be better than the Greatest Game movie, but the Greatest movie you can argue will be a more entertaining movie to watch. It keeps you up on your seat, you know what I'm saying? Because it's highly entertaining, obviously. But that doesn't make it a better movie. As there's some movies that are more entertaining, but they're not better movies. You see what I'm saying, Aaron? You have quality, you have quantity. Quality is story, quantity is entertainment, obviously. There's some movies that are more entertaining, but they're not necessarily better movies. Just like Matrix Reloaded, is more entertaining to watch than the Matrix One, but Matrix One's better because it's a better story, better quality story. You see what I'm saying? Oh, you're just saying, yeah. You have to separate the two. There's entertainment. There's some people who think quality of story is entertainment and story, but I disagree. I think the quality is story, quantity is entertainment. Just like there's a difference between having your movie being your favorite and a movie being your best. Like Rob Mayer Burnett says, yeah, Rob's right. There's a difference between having a movie being your favorite, having a movie be better or the best. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, here's videos. Iron Man signing up. Peace.